you tell us a little bit about how you got involved with Merthyr and what the club means to you?
I'm 32 this year, so I got involved when I was 16, 17. A local lad, I lived and grew up about 7, 8 miles away down the valley in Treharris. But I was at Swansea City Academy as a youngster. Got released then at 16, didn't quite make it into YTS, and sort of went into football limbo. I didn't know what to do. I lost a bit of faith with the game. Didn't really because I was so disappointed not to get that scholarship. But literally played Parks football for one season with my uncle's team at 16, and then joined Merthyr Tydfil youth at the time it was then, at 16, 17. Had 1 year in the youth team, and then got invited to train with the first team at around about 17. Made my debut at 17, and here I am at 32. Well, returned this summer, but yeah, it's been a very long time, and the club means everything to me, really. I mean, it's my hometown. It's a massive club. I mean, it's a sleeping giant, and you hear of the tales of the 80s, and back in the days they'd play and have such massive crowds at the games and things like that. So yeah, it's important. It's kind of one of those weird things that even though it's been football, the community aspect of the club and that social side that comes with it has played a massive part in my life, because my stepdad is now a massive Merthyr fan, full of tattoos, and my mum met my stepdad at a football match by coming to watch and support me. So yeah, it's played a massive part in my life for sure.
Within the community, you sort of hit it there with just how important it is. How important have the fans been in bringing the club back from something that's quite serious?
Yeah, I mean, well, the fans were everything, because the club was owned by said gentleman or a group of people, and that sort of just went absolutely wrong. And then the club was, like you said, it was just going to disappear. But for a handful of proper core supporters that got themselves together, and I think they set up the Merthyr Supporters Trust, and they made it fan owned. But yeah, I was here throughout it, so that last season was crazy. And we survived. Well, we didn't survive at all. We won at Swindon Supermarine, but the odd thing was then we still got punished and had to start. I mean, bottom of the pile. Which I won't lie, it was some of the most enjoyable years as a player, because it was sort of like that fresh start. The fans had ownership of the club, but back to your point, without a said group of fans, this club wouldn't be here today. It would have just disappeared, and it just goes to show how much the club means to a lot of people within the area. I think without that group of hardcores, I call them, and they've been here for 40, 50 years, some of them, and they've got a lot more stories to tell than I have. Without that group, like I said, we wouldn't be sat here having a chat about Merthyr Town, and there wouldn't be this excitement and buzz around the place, because I don't think they would have ever been a club. They plucked up ideas. We lost the lease on the ground, so we had to go to Taft's Well and play down there. But I think the football community came together as well, because Taft's Well, they offered us the chance to go there. Some clubs might have gone, sorry, it's not our business. So I think a lot of people see Merthyr as a huge club. A lot of people wanted to help us out at the time. Unfortunately, for the town and for players like myself, there's still a team to play for and support, because, like I said, without that group, I definitely don't think there would have been a football club here at all. There would have been houses developed on this ground, but they worked hard and got they got things back on the straight and narrow, and like I said, here we are chatting about it today.
What was the impact of the pandemic like on the club and the sort of community that had come together and fought for its survival?
I think it was the same for probably most clubs up and down the country, really. It was just like a knife to the stomach, It came out of nowhere, this be fair. And we aren't like the professionals, where they've got bags and bags and bags and piles of money just stashed away to carry you through. It was difficult, and I think everyone had to be so reactive with it. There was no way anyone was prepared for what was going to happen. I'll be honest with you, I was playing at another football club when the lockdown happened, but yet always remained a massive supporter of the club, because it's my hometown team. And I remember it was all this discussion, especially at the start of last year, where the club were going to pull out and not start the season. And I'll be honest with you, I was quite critical of it. I was thinking, they can't make a decision like that without consulting the fans, blah blah blah, because I'm quite passionate about being a fan. But in hindsight, those people that made that quick decision to almost mothball, I think was the term, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was the best decision that they could have made, because they would have just wasted money, and ultimately the league didn't even get off the ground anyway. I think a few teams played a number of games, but the league was cancelled prior to Christmas and never ever returned. So, you know, considering, like I said, I was very vocal on social media, I suppose, and said, fans, you know, should have been consulted. But like I said, I'm happy to admit that I was wrong, and I take it back. And the right people made the right decision, and thank God they did, because they've saved themselves a bit of money.
Yeah.
And this club isn't known for having loads of money. But what's incredible, I think, the return now that we're coming out the other side is nothing but excitement and promise and things like that, and there's a buzz about the place again. The media coverage and everything that comes with this return is fantastic, and I think it's down to a lot of people have probably missed it, and they've probably taken it for granted for so many years, and then when it's taken away from them, they think, do you know what, I missed that, I love it, I want to get back up, I want to make a difference, I want to get back involved, however small or big that contribution is. And I think there's a real buzz and energy around the place that's that it hasn't been this sort of buzz and excitement probably since the club survived and we started that season from fresh, you know, as a brand new team. So yeah, it's one that I'm glad I'm on board for this season, and I'm looking forward to it.
What is the team's objective for this season? What are you looking to achieve as a collective moving into the start of your season?
It's a strange one. I think, speaking to the manager, it's a complete clean slate. So we've started with a fresh whiteboard with no players' names on there. So he has had to play almost Football Manager and recruit a group of boys that's going to go out there and do the club proud. That will happen for certain. But I think with the right people in, and we've got 8 or 9 very good signings of boys that are proven at the level, etc. I think internally, I think the goals are we've got to be at the right end of the table, and that's pushing for the playoff picture. Look, we're realistic. I know the level, and the boys and everyone and around the club knows the level, and we know it's going to be difficult because there's a lot more, a lot bigger player budgets around, etc. But we're all excited. It's a fresh challenge, and we're ready to give it a good go. Ultimately, Dean's going to want to put a team on the pitch that the town and the supporters are proud of and they want to get behind, and that's down to myself and the boys that come Saturday or Tuesday evening or whenever we play, that we put performances in that everyone is proud of, like, you know.